This distance represents the amount of time it took this device to reach 50 million listeners. Anybody want to hazard a guess?
38.
A perceptive one among us in the audience. You're absolutely right, David. 38 years is the right answer. This distance represents the amount of time it took this device to reach 50 million viewers.
12 years.
13. The lawyer knows the answer. Well done, Angelo. This distance, the amount of time it took this device to reach 50 million pairs of ears. How long to sell 50 million iPods?
3.
3 years. Absolutely correct. This distance? This distance represents the amount of time it takes these people to add not 50, but 100 million users. Answer? 9 months. Good question. I'll leave that hanging while I just give you a little more data. Here's some research that was conducted in November 2010, so it's bang up to date. This table represents the top 10 influential brands in the United Kingdom. Now, if you're not from the United Kingdom, you might not know John Lewis, the cooperative. Okay, don't worry about it, but you certainly know some of the others. Where do you think our friends Facebook are? Right there. The 5th most influential brand in the United Kingdom. Where are the others then? 2nd place, Google. 4th place, Amazon. And the 10th most influential brand in the United Kingdom is
What are the choices?
Twitter. Would you believe it? So, what happens if we go to Angelo's country and we say, what about this for the United States of America? Did they do this same piece of research? Yes, they did. And pretty much, the answer is pretty much the same. Because you see, if you look at this, in the United Kingdom, what we're saying is, all of these companies here could not exist if it were not for the Internet. And if you do this research in the United States of America, guess what? The top must stop. The top does not change. But at the bottom, we just got Twitter drops down to 15th, eBay's in there, Skype's in there, all IT, technology, internet companies. So big lesson number 1, here it comes, just in case you haven't got it already. I don't think there is anybody in this room, and I include myself in that, and with no disrespect, I even include Monica in this. I don't think there is anybody in this room who is maximizing their use of the internet. Because it's pretty much all of these people are free to use. Yeah, you can pay a bit of money and get extra features, and you can do AdWords on Google and blah, 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 blah. But the basic stuff is free. That's a pretty good return on investment once you've got yourself set up. Well, that's quite interesting, isn't it? I mean, how many of us sell our books and CDs on an eBay shop? I don't expect to see a lot of hands going up. Here's the slightly more embarrassing question that might kind of cause us to look at our shoes and pretend that we don't actually exist. which is how many of us have actually done the Excel spreadsheet to see whether it makes sense having an eBay shop? No one. Be honest, because I haven't done it yet. How many of us have got a business Facebook page? Please come in. You're very welcome. How many of us have got a business Facebook page? Excellent. Now we see a few more people. We've got 3, 4 people in the audience. Excellent. But if you leave it another 9 months before you have your business Facebook page, there will be another 100 million people on Facebook. So that's the first thing that I wanted to draw to your attention, was your use of the internet. Now, there are 3 things that you need to do if you need to sell something to somebody. And I hope to goodness gracious me, sir, that you agree with me when I say these 3 things.
Oh, yeah.
After sitting in your presentation yesterday. You need to deliver the right words at the right time in the right way. Whose responsibility is it for writing the right words? Well, it would be yours, Richard. And whose responsibility is it for delivering them at the right time, Nabil? Yours. And whose responsibility, Angelo, is it for delivering it in the right way?
Yours truly. Yours truly.
So what we are saying is that actually all of this is about who? Now that would be easy enough if there was just one of you to control. Sorry to disappoint you, there's 4. Every one of you sitting here is 4 people. That's not 1, it's 4. And I want to introduce you to those 4 people and give you some hints and tips for controlling them, because they can get quite considerably out of control at times and cause a certain degree of stress, which is completely unnecessary. So let's have a look at the first one. He's called Whistling William, and ladies, I don't see why you should be excluded, so I have Whistling Wilhelmina to join Whistling William on stage. Now, these people live a very comfortable lifestyle. You can see that, you know, the birds are tweeting, the sun is shining, they're walking in the park in their bedroom slippers, their dressing gown. Frankly, do they look stressed? Do they? Heck. They are living right in the middle of their comfort zone. In fact, they're living right in the middle of it. They're not even exploring their whole comfort zone. They don't do much reading, so they don't have much of a learning zone, and they haven't seen their panic zone because they just don't know where it is. It's a very comfortable and easy lifestyle that these people lead because really they don't do much. They pick the low-hanging fruit. They wait for the telephone to ring. They wait for the email to arrive, and somehow they survive. Now, every one of us here has a comfort zone, and we all know it's a lovely place to be. It's just, be honest, come on. You know, it's really nice. Who goes sailing around here? There must be some sailors. If I'm in the Netherlands, there must be some sailors. There are lots of sailors in the UK. There's no better place when it's stormy than being in port. It's a really nice place to be, and it was our Admiral Nelson that said that there is nowhere that rots ships and men quicker than harbor. A safe anchorage is a dangerous place. But we need to go there. We need to go there to restore our batteries and just recover. But then what? But then what? Because if you don't do anything else, you just live in your dressing gown and your bedroom slippers and you wait for the phone to ring, and it's not really particularly good. But then what? So this is my idea for you in terms of a comfort zone. What I would like you to do is identify something that is professionally relevant and challenging. Professionally relevant and challenging. When Ailey introduced me, she said that I produce and present my own radio show. It's absolutely right. I do 2 hours of live radio every week. And I have to say, live radio is pretty exciting. We broadcast on FM in the UK. We broadcast on the internet, so you can listen to me. You just go to redshiftradio.co.uk, redshiftradio.co.uk, Wednesdays, 1200 UK time, 1200 to 1400 UK time. Click listen now, and you get my wonderful dulcet tones. And it's pretty exciting because we have to do everything right up to the second. We get the Sky News feed and all the rest of it. Now, I have to tell you, I started this in September. Until then, I had absolutely no expertise or experience of running a live radio studio. And I produce and present this on my own. There's no one else in the studio with me. I fly the decks, I handle the Twitter feeds, I respond to the emails, I pick up the telephones, I do the outbound telephone calls, patch them through the desk, do the sound checks, and put them on air. And here in the audience are two ladies who have been in the studio with me on my radio show. Isn't that right? Yeah, that's right. When they were visiting the UK and we got them in on the show. You can. And so, thank you very much. That was a beautiful segue. Because over here is the box that you put your business card in if you want to be on the radio show. Terrific. Just pass it round. We'll patch you in. Now, it's live radio, so Angelo, you have to wake up early in the morning.
I'll be in London in May.
You're on. Okay. So then, having identified it, I just want you to do it. I just want you to do it. So pick something that is big, professionally relevant, and do it. One a year, that's all, because you can't, if it's big and professionally relevant, you're not going to do more than 1 year, right? Believe me. If you can do 3 or 4 a year, they're not big enough, even for you. So something that's big, professionally relevant, and just do it. Ted, you run your own radio show as well, don't you? Félicitations, sir. Congratulations. Excellent. Yeah. So we should trade, we should burn each other's radio shows. There we go. Excellent. So that was my thing to get out of my comfort zone. What do you think it did to my learning zone? Phenomenal amount of skill. Just woof, phenomenal. So there you go. So that's how we take control of those people. Now, I'd like you to introduce you to these people, the Petrified Peters. Now, the Petrified Peters, this is pretty much what was happening to me the first time we did our radio show. Okay, we're live on air, and we go, what happens now? Oh, I need to speak. Oh, did I write a script? I hope so. So, this is all very exciting stuff. Now, these people, as you can see, are just not equipped for this experience. They've still got their dressing gowns on, they've still got their bedroom slippers on, and they've just been hit by something they were not expecting to be hit by. And that happens to us too. Be honest, it happens to us too. So we end up in our panic zone. We've gone from our comfort zone, woof, we missed learning, we just went straight to panic. And that happens. So how do we deal with this? Because these people don't really have much of a comfort zone. They don't have any learning zone at all. They just have a massive panic zone. And in fact, sometimes their comfort zone completely disappears and life is just panic. Most of this panic comes from attempting, and there is the word, attempting, bad word, remove it from your language. The verbs to try, to attempt, never use them again. It comes from attempting to do too much. I want to tell you a story about this man, Martin Ainscough. Martin Ainscough comes from the United Kingdom, the northwest of the United Kingdom, where I come from. He is 8 years older than me. He left school at 15 with no qualifications. He went to work for his father, who ran a scrap yard with the uncle. Okay? And the father bought a crane for moving scrap around the scrapyard. Martin got interested in the crane, and in 2007 sold Ainscough Cranes that by then had a fleet of 640 cranes employing 1,000 people for 255 million sterling. That is $400 million, 300 million euro. age 54. It's not bad.
What did he do?
He built that company, Ainscoe Cranes, from nothing, having left school at 15. No qualifications. I spent a long time with Martin. He's been on the radio show, been in the office, spent a long time with him. Now, the reality is this guy is very different. He's just different. And here's the difference. There is a great number of us, before we did the jobs that we do now, running our own little businesses as speakers and consultants and all trainers and whatever we want to call ourselves. A lot of us, not all of us, but a lot of us have been employees in a corporate environment. A lot of us, not all of us, but a lot of us. And what happened there? What happened was your job was given to you, you did it, they gave you money. And it just repeated. Job, done, money, in. Job, done, money, in. Job, done, You leave all that behind. Better get busy. Get a job, 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 and soon you're drowning. How many things do you think he's doing at once? One. Maybe three, but the point is well made. Whether it's one or three is irrelevant, but your point is well made. That's the point. He just doesn't. He does, everything else is done by other people. Martin, and I've watched him operate in his office, Martin is an expert. He has a whole troop of these things. Monkeys. There's no single monkey on Martin's back. All the monkeys are here.
Thank you, Chris.
And he just hands off monkeys to people. He just hands off monkeys. Now, of course, for all the ex-employees, we're used to getting monkeys. So we feel comfortable when we've got hundreds of monkeys on our shoulders, so we just load ourselves up until we die. And that's the problem. We're trying to do too much. We're trying to do too much. So you just got to have these monkeys, just put them somewhere else. Put them somewhere else. Find a useful home for them. Give them to a friend. Just give the monkey to a friend. Get somebody else to do the work. Okay? So how are we going to behave like Martin? First thing we've got to do is identify our monkeys. We've got to know what these little critters are doing. Updating Facebook, updating LinkedIn, playing around. I used to design computer networks. I did a postdoctorate in designing for the World Wide Web. Do you think I can build a website? Inside out. Do you think I did? Inside out. Do you think I do any more? No. Monkey, gone. Somebody else's problem, okay? Get rid of the monkeys. So you've got to identify your monkeys, hand them back to their owners. That's the only way. Otherwise, you're just going to be in your dressing gown and your bedroom slippers on the edge of a cliff, completely overloaded and not being able to cope with anything. That's 2 out of the 4 people. Okay. Third group of people. Techie Tina and Techie Tim. These people have all the gear and no idea. You've seen them. You've seen them. Look, they're walking through the forest. It's completely flat. They've got ice picks, they've got ropes, and they've got mountain climbing boots. Do you need this to walk through the forest? It's the same backdrop as the first photograph, a first cartoon. You don't need it, okay? But they have all the gear and no idea. These people have accounts on Constant Contact, iContact, and Aweber because they think it's good, but they don't quite know which one to use. These people have every self-development book under the sun, and they've read none. They've invested in, well, they haven't. They've spent a lot of money. Whether they've invested in themselves is another issue, you know? So this is a real issue. And, excuse me, we're all guilty. We're all guilty. Here's the test. You see, these people don't really have the concept of a comfort zone because they're really interested in growing and learning. So they have a massive learning zone. Massive learning zone. They don't really have a panic zone. They have this massive learning zone, and the reason they don't have a panic zone is because they don't do anything with their knowledge. They do the square root of -1 with what they know. They just don't do anything with it. So what do? You go back, here's the test. Go back and count the number of business books you own. Count them. Count the number of them you've read. Divide one by the other. If the answer is 1, you've passed. If the answer is greater than 1, you've failed. Fair enough? Count the number of books you own. Count the number you've read. I own 20 books. I've read 20 books. 20 divided by 20, 1. I've passed. I own 20 books. I've read 3. 20 divided by 3, greater than 1. Failed. I mean, you know, it's a gross test, but it just serves to focus. And you say, oh, I've read that one, I've read that one, I've read that one. Yeah, okay. Yeah, sure. Beyond chapter 1? Beyond chapter 1? Really? Truly? Honestly? Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Monica's going, whoops. But, you know, we have to ask ourselves these questions. We have to ask ourselves, because these people exist in us. Exist in us. So.
Is that the learning zone then, or is that the buying zone?
Yeah, good point. Yeah, it's back to whether, you know, whether they've actually made an investment in themselves or not. So, the issue here, then, is this is one of the things that I want you to do, because the issue here is focus. The way you deal with these people is you get this little critter to focus. This is where you go to focus. You go to this website, which is called workingcogs.com. Having got to workingcogs.com, you click in the top right-hand corner where it says Interrupt Ron, and you download that tool. Now, for those of you that are not native English speakers, this looks like the word interruption. It's not. It's interrupt Ron. So if you're Googling it, either go to Working Cogs or Google Interrupt Ron. What is it? It's a free little download. It's a digital clock that floats on top of everything in a little window on your computer, and you set the amount of time that the digital clock runs before you get a break. And then you set the amount of time that you want the break to last for. So, for example, I might, when I'm writing books, I write for an hour. 60 minutes, stop. Break for 15, start. 60 minutes, stop. Break for 15, start. There is a temptation. There is a temptation, and this is where the brain doesn't work. Don't fall into this trap. There's a temptation. I'll just get to the end of this paragraph. I'll just finish this chapter off. No. 60 minutes, stop, walk away.
But don't you lose your flow of writing?
And you think you forget everything, you don't. 15 minutes, you come back. You sit down, and your brain just goes, yeah. Terrific little tool. Terrific little tool. And if, while you're typing away in Word or whatever, you think, yeah, you know, no one's looking up. I'll just check my email. Just check my email, right? Interruptron sitting there, and he goes, ha, you've left Word. You're going to another application. I will start the interruption clock. And the interruption clock starts, and it just gets, and the interruption clock, as the numbers go up, the numbers just get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until they fill your entire computer screen. And you have to stop it and get back to work. Now, yeah, it is a terrific little tool. If you just want something just to focus on doing a job, it's just great. It's just great. So Interruptron, I mean, the thing costs nothing. You know, the guy wrote it for a bit of fun, but it's got some serious psychology behind it, and it works, right? So this is really worthwhile doing. And so finally, we have our fourth type of person. This is a confident Colin and confident Corinne. And these people, of course, are at the peak of their profession. They have the right gear. They are at the top of the mountain. And we would assume, therefore, that they can sit down and relax and enjoy the fruits of their labors and how wrong we would be. Because the issue for them is this, which is over there. The issue for them is what it is in this tank. In fact, the issue for them is, who are they? Because you can get a long way in life without having any idea as to who you actually are. Because every single person in this room has one of those. And unconsciously, when you get up in the morning, you put it on. You get dressed, and you put on your talent tank. And you walk out into the world with this tank on your back. And most people haven't got a clue what's in their tank. It's very sad. They genuinely do not know what is in their tank. They get up in the morning, they go through this process, you know, they have a shave, they put their makeup on, they do all this kind of stuff, and you know, they get there and they go, okay, number 13 bus, 8:26 train, here we go. And they're off to work. You know, and it's very sad because they just haven't got a clue what is in this tank. They genuinely do not know because they haven't done the work. Yeah? And they just go out into the world and they just, you know, and they just, you know, and they just haven't got a clue what is in their tank, right? And they're just spraying stuff out there and they're thinking, oh, you know. And this is, you know, I mean, when I do this show with you know, with companies, and we all do the thing of, yeah, we're speaking next to me. Yeah, well, why don't I come the evening before? I'll come the evening. That'd be lovely. Yeah, you go to the networking, do the dinner, and all the rest of it, and you're chatting to the delegates. And so, Richard, 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 I'd love you to be in the front row tomorrow. I'll reserve a seat for you. And I do, and I write their name on a card. Richard, here's your seat. Oh, they're great, very important person. They haven't got a clue what's going to happen, of course. So now everybody in the back row is thinking, whew, boy, am I glad I'm here. Yeah, get you too, all the way. Okay, so, you know, so what is the issue? What is the actual issue? The actual issue is that this tank on my back has my talent loaded in it. What I would like you to do to prove the point now, would you take a clean sheet of paper? You're never going to see this sheet of paper again. So if you need to rip it out of a book, I've got spare paper if anybody needs it. But what I'd like you to do is take a clean sheet of paper. Does anybody need any? And on this clean sheet of paper, what I'd like you to do is just write. Is that okay, Frau? Are you okay? Good? Everybody happy? What I'd like you to do is on this sheet of paper, I'd like you to write, here's the exercise, I would like you to write 3 words that you would use to describe me to somebody who has never met me. Not long sentences, you can, just 3 words. 1, 2, 3. You can use a hyphenated word if you want, but not long sentences. 3 words. 1, 2, 3. Got there? Let's have a little test. Let's have a bit of fun. Let's see what's in my tank. Anybody got a word approximating to intelligent?
No.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 4 or 5. Talented? 1. Driven, focused? No, we missed out on that one today. Detailed, anything to do with very detailed operator. Controlled, yeah, that'll do. Confident, yeah. Reliable.
Is English reliable?
Reliable.
Is English reliable?
Is it?
I wrote down English.
Of course it is.
Okay.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
That's an oxymoron.
Thoughtful. Somebody who thinks a lot.
Yeah.
Smart as a cookie.
Smart cookie, that'll do. I like smart cookie, I must put that. Considerate, caring. Yeah, okay. So, there you go. I knew the answer. Anybody have anything else? Yes, so please, go.
Small.
Small. I'll deal with you after. They're always the Dutch. They're always the same. Monica. Passionate. Yes, well, that's appeared before. Bright, thank you. Vaporizing. Wild. Humorous. Yeah. Zany. Off the mark. Yeah. Eloquent. Thank you, Angela. That has appeared before, actually. Now,
Smart aleck.
okay, thank you. Now, interesting that... Teacher. Okay, thank you. Now, interesting. Yes, please. Extraordinary. Thank you. Now, very interesting that the humor thing... Now, let me just tell you about this, because this is a really, really interesting test, and I want you to do it. And I've just demonstrated to you that I know the answer. That wasn't a card trick. You know, they're not all in there. It wasn't, you know, this was real. This was real, right? If you'd be so kind, those pieces of paper, would you just hand them all to your left and all the way, when you get there, all the way down to this lady at the front? Okay. To your right. Sorry, this way. Sorry, I got that wrong. That's it. That way, that way. Oh, just over there. Just over there. Just over there. All the way over there. All the way over there. Yeah, all the way. Your left. Your right. All the way down here. All the way down here. All the way down here. Brilliant. Thank you. Now, because this goes in my database, right? This goes in my database. Now, let me tell you about what's going on here, because this is really, really useful stuff. If you do this exercise and do it with people that you've known all your life, do it with customers that you've just worked with the first time. Some of you have not met me before. You've never seen me on stage. Okay, for some of you, this is the first time you've seen me do my thing, right? And yet, you nailed me. And you will be amazed at the degree of commonality between people who have known you for 35 years and people who've known you for 6 weeks or 5 minutes. It's just that obvious. So this is reality. This is what people see. Whether you like it or not, this is what people see. Did I learn something through this? Yes, what I learned was that people think I'm intelligent. I have never in my life considered myself to be an intelligent human being until this kept coming back every single time. Now, to begin with, Ted, when you said humorous, kind of you to say that, but humorous didn't pop up for a long time. Why? Because I wasn't comfortable with my material. I didn't have it all sorted out, and I knew from my personality type that I can go pretty wild on stage. I knew that, and I didn't know exactly how wild I could go with an audience before I drive them away. So that was a learning point. It was a learning point for me. So this is stuff that is, you know, massively helpful in terms of understanding who you are, because there are only 2 sad things in life. Only 2. Number 1, people die without ever knowing what was in their tank. That's desperately sad. Desperately sad. Second thing is, they die without having had the opportunity to empty it. In other words, they die earlier than they should have done. And that's desperately sad too. You know, I think of a wonderful musical friend of mine who I had a conversation with him on the telephone, and 6 weeks later he was dead from cancer, and he had more music in his fingertip than I will have in my body forever. And it was just so sad. Same age as me, and he just never got the opportunity to get all of that out there. And those are the only 2 sad things in life. But he knew what was in his tank. Some people never ever know. So you need to know what's in your tank. So what are you going to do about it? You're going to do the who am I test. That's the one we've just talked about. The next thing you need to know is this. You need some sort of idea on am I left or right brain. You need to know something about that. So here's another free place for you to go on the internet. Go to here, mindmedia.com/braintest.html. It's a lovely freebie little tool. I know there are... Are you all right, Richard? Do you need water?
Yeah.
Want a drink?
Yeah.
There you go. One gin tonic, sir.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
You know what I meant.
So, if you go here, this is another freebie little test. Doesn't cost it's just there. Now, I know there are other, more expansive tests one can do, but just go here and do it. It's a pretty good test, give you a lot of information about yourself. You won't be surprised to know that I come out 50-50, right in the middle. No matter how many times I take it. Okay, Myers-Briggs. Does everybody know their Myers-Briggs type? Yep, good. What are you?
I'm also in the middle.
Myers-Briggs type, though. What's your Myers-Briggs? 4 letters.
Introvert.
I.
Oh, God, don't.
There you go.
Judgmental.
ENFP. Okay. Okay. For those of you that are into Myers-Briggs, I'm an INTJ. INTJs are less than 3% of the entire population. We're very rare people. Very rare people. INTJs are extraordinarily rare people. They have their weaknesses, but they have tremendous strengths, and they're extraordinarily rare. The more you know about who you are, it's taught me an awful lot. Knowing I'm an INTJ really helps me relate to people and know what I need to do, because most of the world is E's. There are a few I's, and INTJs are, as rare as rocking horse stuff. So, Myers-Briggs, learn that. Herman Brain Dominance Instrument, HBDI. If you want to know anything about HBDI, go and speak to Christine Morley. She's here. Christine Morley from France is here. Yeah. So Christine is an HBDI licensee, as it were. So you can go do the HBDI test with Christine. The Strengths Deployment Inventory, I beg your pardon, Strengths Deployment Inventory, SDI, is another one of these tests. These are broadly similar, but a little bit different. Myers-Briggs, Eileen Tan. Anyone know Eileen Tan? She's an MBTI person, so if you want to know about MBTI. I'm certified. Okay, we have a certified MBTI person, so you can confirm INTJs are incredibly rare people. They are incredibly rare people, yeah. So this is all stuff that you should do, because this tells you, this informs you what's in this tank. And then when you know what's in it, when you know what's in your tank, you know how to get it out. Or at least you've got an idea. You've got a chance of being able to get it out there. Most people never, ever find out. It's so, so sad. So, having known what you are now, and having concluded that you don't do enough on the internet, because we all know that, we need to sort our business out. We need to have a marketing plan, we need to have a product plan, and we need to have a personal development plan. We've touched on the marketing plan. I mean, you can't do marketing plan justice in a session like this, but at least to know, we all know and acknowledge that in our marketing plans, there is not enough internet. That's just the way it is. So we need to do more work in that area, all of us. We now have some idea as to what we can do in the personal development plan. I'm not going to touch product plan at all, because we just, it's going to be different for every one of us, and we don't have much time to do that today. But what I am going to do is give you 4 questions that you can use to test the validity of any of these plans, and in fact, any business plan at all. 4 questions. Here's the first one. Does this plan force me to make a choice? If it doesn't force you to make a choice, throw it away. Rewrite it. It is a rubbish plan. You need to be crystal clear on what it is you are doing for whom. Your plan must force you to make a choice. It must force you to say, I am not going to do business with these people. It must be crystal clear in that regard. Second question. Does this plan focus my effort? Does this plan focus my effort? Focus my effort. If I read your plan, Ted, do I know what you're doing? It's a pretty simple question, but you know, a lot of plans, you don't. You read the plan, you say, well, okay, so what are the people now doing? Don't know. It's just not detailed enough. Oh, it's written at a strategic level, of course. Well, don't give me that. You know, I need to convert this plan into action. So I need to read the plan and know what to do. So does it focus my effort? Third question, does it balance? Does it balance what? Does it balance continuity and change? Does it balance continuity and change? Is there stuff in there that actually is just got enough of a foothold where you used to be and enough of a foothold where you want to be? Because if it's all brand new change stuff, that's called high risk. Massive high risk. So when I started my business in 2002, I broke into the market as the voice guy. Why? Because my father's an ear, nose, and throat surgeon. I've been singing for donkey's years. I've had my voice trained by some excellent singers, and I've written a few stage shows. I know how to work a stage, and I can... Okay, that's where I'm going to start my business. And then I built all the other IT. I've been in the IT business for 25 years. I built all the IT stuff back in later on. I could have started from IT, but frankly, I was just bored with it. I'd done IT for long enough. I just wanted to walk away from it and do something different. So I had to balance continuity and change. Really, really, really important. Does reading your plan convert big issues, the big issues that you are wrestling with, does it convert them into one of two things? Does it convert the big issue into actions that either add value or cut cost? If you find yourself making decisions that are not adding value to your business and they're not cutting cost in your business, what is that decision? That decision is a little monkey friend who belongs somewhere else. So just put it away. Just forget it. Just don't do it. You know, something has to give. Something has to give somewhere. Tomorrow morning I fly to Joburg. I've got a paid gig over there for 2 days. I've spent a lot of time preparing this stuff. Just before coming here, I went to karate. I got injured, and I spent the morning of the next day in hospital having my foot x-rayed. Nothing broken, which is fine, but you know, that wiped out the day, which was the only clear day I had in my diary to prepare all this stuff in Johannesburg. Well, something's got to give. You know, because the only two important things in my life right now are this and Johannesburg. Everything else, monkeys. Just say to yourself, monkeys. You know, they've got to go somewhere. So you've got to look at the plan and say, does this plan convert the big issues I'm dealing with into something that adds value or reduces cost? Adds value or reduces cost? Just keep asking yourself the question, how does this add value to my business? How does this reduce the cost in my business? I'd like to offer you some help. This is my website. If you go to the button at the top right-hand corner where it says free stuff, you will end up on this page. And if you click on that button there, you can get a guide that tells you all about writing and producing exciting PowerPoint presentations. That's this one here. It's a sample for you to look at. If you want one, go and download it. If you scroll down the page a bit, then there's another one about how to speak well in public, which I don't think anybody in this room needs, but you might have some friends that might be interested in it. And scrolling further down, there is this one, which some people, non-native English-speaking people might be interested in. So the guide to writing international English. It's a style guide for international English. And that would actually be very interesting as well for, without being anyway, you know, not funny or disrespectful at all, be interesting for American speakers as well. Because, you know, we do need to have, for many years I worked in the airline industry, and we were a global company, and we defined a specific international English that was going to be acceptable in Europe and acceptable in American, and wouldn't upset anybody. It's all detailed in here for you. It's quite a long guide. It's over, you know, it's 20 pages, so there's some good information in there. So they're sitting on the website. You're very welcome to come and get those. Just, you know exactly where to go to get those now. So back to these people. The URL of my website, you're going to find that out. Just a minute. So these two folks here, they're on top of their mountain, and they're feeling very comfortable with themselves. They found out what is in their tank now, so they know about this. So this is life done, isn't it? We've done the 4 U's. We've got the 4 questions for sorting out our marketing plan. We know exactly where we're going. Life is all sweetness. No, Chris has got something else left. So what these people can do is they can undo their backpacks, they can strap on their parapentes, and they can jump off and find the eddies and the rising hot air, and they can sail away into the sunset. And that's exactly what they do in the presentation that follows this one, when these two have all sorts of exciting adventures. But that's another story for another day. So I'm going to close it here. The URL of my company is activepresence.co.uk. You've already found me. That's excellent. It's been my pleasure speaking to you. We need to go to lunch. My pleasure. If anybody feels sufficiently enthused to look at Edo's camera and say, wow, that would be lovely.
My name is Angelo Paparelli. I'm a lawyer. I've been a lawyer for 35 years. And my job is all about communication and strategic thinking. And I admit, without any shred of embarrassment, that Chris Davidson took me to a new level. Chris is eloquent. He has dramatic flair. His ability to slice concepts into digestible chunks is really quite outstanding. But most importantly, I would say that he causes one to focus upon the hidden strengths inside that deserve to come out. And I'm very grateful.
He owns the stage. He lives what he says, and he can both talk to the mind and talk to the heart, and he makes us think. So all I have to say is hats off, Chris. Well done. Thank you.